মানে দেখতে পাচ্ছি না যদিও, you're all hidden on the other side, but how are you doing? Exams কেমন হলো সবার?
ম্যাম ঠিকঠাকই হচ্ছে।
সবকটা paper was good, like that you expected, it came up that way, all the
হ্যাঁ
papers?
ম্যাম, ভালোই যাচ্ছে।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, ভালোই।
Great.
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম।
সবার শরীর ভালো ছিল? সবার শরীর ঠিক ছিল all throughout the exams? You all kept well? Okay. So out of till date, which was the best paper? Best paper কোনটা হয়েছে? নাকি এখন কেউ বলবে না? Anyway, ঠিক আছে।
আমার জন্য it was maths and literature probably.
Okay. And what about this physics thing? I heard that people were saying physics was best. Okay. Some people were saying that physics pattern was totally different as you had till now.
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, মানে কোনো পেপারের সাথে ওটা মেলেনি, স্পেসিমেনও যা দেওয়া ছিল এমনি সেটার সাথে কোনোভাবে মেলেনি।
আচ্ছা, স্পেসিমেন পেপারের সঙ্গেও ফিজিক্স মেলেনি? ওকে ওকে, ঠিক আছে, লেটস নট ওয়েস্ট টাইম।
ম্যাম আমার না কিছু ডাউট আছে, একটু ক্লিয়ার করে দেবেন?
Sure, sure. তো তুই গ্রুপে যেগুলো দিয়েছিলি, we'll talk about it. But before that, let's have a quick. I don't want to take much time because you have a schedule of your own. So I'll just go through chapter wise, fatafat, and then find out anybody is having doubt from any chapter as such, and then we'll clear up that one. Okay? Okay. সৌরজা কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করছো?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, আমার সেকেন্ড অ্যাসাম্পশন রিজনিং ওইটার থেকে আমার কয়েকটা ডাউট ছিল।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে, we'll sit with that when we have that, because Manjima is also having some doubts from the same part. Yes, Sanmay?
না, আমার অ্যাবজর্পশনের একটা কোয়েশ্চেনে ডাউট আছে।
আচ্ছা, চ্যাপ্টার ওয়াইজ এগোই, and then it will be easy for us to clear it up. Those who are here, I can see many a people. Siddharth, শরীর কেমন আছে এখন? Siddharth was not keeping well throughout the exam. Okay, ठीक है. I hope you have revised the syllabus full, all the chapters done once, twice. How is your once সবকটা পড়া হয়ে গেছে, right? All the chapters. Suggestions গুলো ধরে ধরে পড়েছিস? Suggestion sheet I hope everybody received it. In case you have not, please ask me or else I'll share the.
ওখানে তুমি একটা অ্যারেঞ্জ ইন সিকোয়েন্স দিয়েছিলে অনেকগুলো কোয়েশ্চেন, 24 খানা, আর তার আনসার ছিল, কিন্তু আনসার গুলো না সবকটা ঠিকঠাক নেই।
আচ্ছা,
এবার আরেকবার ডিসকাস করলে ভালো হতো।
Okay, ঠিক আছে, I'll just go through it. You should have texted me before this in the group. ঠিক আছে।
আমি গ্রুপে লিখেও ছিলাম, বাট তুমি বললে দেখোনি কিছু মেসেজ।
Okay, is it so? I'll just check. Well, what we are going to read from here, we have to focus on the diagram of nucleotide. People are going on. Here also the diagram of DNA. I'm talking about figure 2.2 of your book, which has to be taken care of. Figure 2.3a, that diagram is also very important to draw, as well as diagram based question. Nitrogenous basis of DNA and RNA, we are thorough about it. Of course, full form of DNA, I've been telling this since last 1 year or more than that. That is important. Definition of gene, stages of mitosis along with the diagrammatic part. Another thing, figure 2.8, the cell cycle wala diagram. I feel it's good if you just have a look at it for a diagram based question, if it comes for a diagram based question. Okay. This interface G1S, G2, and all the phases of mitosis, the PMAT. এই পিকচারটা ডায়াগ্রাম বেসড কোয়েশ্চেনের জন্য আমরা প্র্যাকটিস করব, ঠিক আছে? And then the phases, the activities of G1S, G2, the activities of G1S, G2 that we will be going through. we are aware of all the phases occurring. What is karyokinesis? How do we define? Can anybody help me on this? How do we define karyokinesis? You can write down in the chat box, or you can say if you wish to. I just want to hear it from you once.
Ma'am, all the nuclear changes that take place during cell division are collectively termed as karyokinesis.
Yes, the exact, correct, very correct. The exact definition that we have in the book. But on the contrary, what is the definition for cytokinesis? Anyone?
Ma'am, division of
Ma'am,
cytoplasm
division of
called as
cytoplasm.
cytokinesis.
Yes.
Right, right. So এই ডিফারেন্সটা কিন্তু মনে রাখতে হবে very importantly, most importantly, and I'm sure you are aware of the diploid and haploid things. Diploid means diploid cells and haploid cells. How do we write? Chromosome number of human, chromosome number of a gamete, sperm or ovum. Suppose you are given a question, write down the chromosome number of the um, bone cell. What do you write in humans? Chromosome number of an osteocyte. Suppose this is a question. How are you coming up with the
46.
answer? It's 46. So any cell, like we had a question in the previous year, right? Chromosome number of neuron. I hope you remember that. So answer will be 46 because each human chromosome contains 46 chromosome. Don't get confused. But specifically, if you are given in MCQ, we had a question in previous year that 22 plus X, 22 plus Y will be the chromosomal representation of 22 plus X and 22 plus Y will represent what?
Gamete.
Which gamete? 22 plus X and 22 plus Y will represent?
Female and male gamete. First one female, next one male.
Please listen. 22 plus X আর 22 plus Y হবে মেল গ্যামেটকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করছে, 22 plus X আর 22 plus X ফিমেল গ্যামেট, রাইট? Are we clear on this, all of us?
Yes, ma'am.
22 plus X, 22 plus X, XX, তাহলে these are representing female gamete যখন একসঙ্গে they are given, and 22 plus X and 22 plus Y, that's male gamete, sperm, right? Okay. Difference in mitosis in plant cell and animal cell. There are, if I ask you about two major points, what would you say?
In
How
animal
would-
cells, esters are formed, and in plant cells, esters are not formed.
All right. The second point, anyone else?
In animal cells, there is furrows that are occurring, and in plant cells, there's cell plate formation.
Okay. We can also add that the furrow formation takes place from where to where. That is a
From
specific.
the
In animal cells, from the cell membrane towards the
from
center,
the
and
towards the
cell
center,
plate
and
is
from
laid
plant-
at the center
from the
towards
center
the
towards the
cell
cell.
membrane.
Very good. So this we should be very clear and particular about our answer, and we all know that, just to repeat once, that we are writing all our answers in bullets in an organized way, and how to write down in the answer sheet. You have written it down for all the exams. Finally, for biology, I will again be explaining how we will exactly be writing it down. Okay. And then significance of mitosis. Okay, crossing over is the other term for crossing over. Other term, technical term for crossing over. Technical term for crossing over. Nobody's coming up with that. Why? What can we say? Yes, Pralipta, come up.
Is it
Bolo.
meiosis?
Another term for crossing over, it's not meiosis, because crossing over is an activity, a phase that takes place in prophase 1 of meiosis 1. But what is the other term?
Ma'am, chiasmata formation.
Chiasmata formation, or we can also say another term we have used, synapsis. We know that. Do we know this? I'm just writing down in the chat box. Please check. Synapsis. I hope you know this. Synapsis. Maybe miss out করে গেছিস. It's synapsis. Okay. We have another term called synapse, and we remember that. What is synapse? Who will say this? What is synapse?
Ma'am, the point of contact between the terminal branches of the axon of a neuron with the dendrites of another neuron separated by a fine gap.
Wonderful. That is synapse when we relate it to nerve cell junction, but then synapses is a term we should know that can be used for crossing over or chiasmata formation. Okay. Difference between mitosis and meiosis, table 2.2 is an important one, and we know we will go through all the points, and I'm sure you have marked the important ones 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Did I say 7 also? 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Table 2.2. Nitrogenous bases in DNA and RNA both. We know this. For RNA, who would say? For RNA, nitrogenous bases?
Adenine, guanine, cytosine, uracil.
Uracil. Yeah, T is replaced by U. We all know this, I'm sure. Any doubts, anything, please ask me or write down in the chat box. Coming to genetics, all the 3 laws you have learned by now, all of you. Law of dominance, law of segregation, law of independent assortment. Learn properly. So if there's a question relating to the fact that there is a monohybrid cross, and write down the law associated with it. Which one would you be writing?
Law of dominance.
Law of dominance, right. And for a dihybrid cross, which law you're going to write?
Law of independent assortment.
Law of independent assortment, correct. So there should not be any confusion on this, and whenever we are writing the law, we should very much be particular and clear about the fact that when we are talking about one pair of contrasting characters, Mane, it is indicating the law of indicating to monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross Mane, one pair of contrasting characters. When we talk about dihybrid cross, 2 pairs of contrasting characters, right? Scientific name of garden pea? And we know very well how to write it down, how to underline, which one to underline and all, right? I'm not coming up to that detail, but we know that the first alphabet should be capital and rest all should be in small. 2 separate names, binomial nomenclature, 2 separate names, and both should be separately underlined when we write down in the answer copy. Father of genetics? Father of
Gregor J. Mendel.
Gregor J. Mendel, John Mendel, don't forget Mendel. All right. There are lots of definitions, smaller definitions in this chapter. You have read that, I know. Homologous chromosome definition is really very important. And can you tell me the type of chromosome Y chromosome represents? The type of chromosome that Y chromosome represents?
Allosome.
Sex chromosomes.
Y chromosome is of course sex chromosome, but then there are 4 major types of chromosome based on its shape. Based on its shape, there are 4 chromosomes. We know that metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric. Jani shobai amra eta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, metacentric means the centromere is in the center and the arms are equidistant. Okay? And then when we talk about submetacentric, the upper arms are a little smaller and the lower arms are longer. And when we talk about acrocentric, the upper arms are very small, just attached to one end, to the upper end, and the lower arms are equal length. When we talk about the telocentric chromosome, that is only the lower arms are present and the centromere in the center, upper arms are not there. So based on this, how would you relate the Y chromosome here? Telocentric. এটা আমার মনে হচ্ছে is not clear to many. আমি ডায়াগ্রাম একে গ্রুপে দিয়ে দেবো ওখানে. Okay. And all right. Here, all the 7 pairs of contrasting characters as discussed by Mendel, we know that they're dominant and recessive form. We should be very thorough with that. Working out a monohybrid cross in a Punnett square and a dihybrid cross in a Punnett square, framing the gametes. আমরা সবাই জানি, কারো ডাউট আছে?
No, ma'am.
I hope this is clear. If I ask you about 2 diseases, 2 X-linked related diseases, X-linked disease. Hemophilia and color blindness. Hemophilia spelling should be very correct hemophilia, hemoglobin, hemophilia, color blindness. Okay, that is X-linked recessive disorder. Okay,
ম্যাম থ্যালাসেমিয়া এটাও কি
we can also write thalassemia লিখতে পারি।
ম্যাম মনোহাইব্রিড ক্রসের সাথে ল অফ ডমিনেন্স হবে না ল অফ সেগ্রিগেশন?
শোনো, মনোহাইব্রিড ক্রসের সঙ্গে না আমরা যদি কোয়েশ্চেনে থাকে তো একটা লই জিজ্ঞেস করে। সো মনোহাইব্রিড ক্রসের সঙ্গে we will write law of dominance only. Law of segregation also relates with monohybrid cross, but then when asked we will write only law of dominance. Segregation লিখবো না, ঠিক আছে? Laws গুলো মুখস্থ আছে, I'm not getting into it. আচ্ছা, another very important thing is that monohybrid ratio and dihybrid ratio, differentiate between, what would be your answer?
Monohybrid ratio 3:1. Dihybrid ratio 9:3:1.
Ekdom correct. We are not going deep into the dihybrid ratio for the, I mean the genotypic ratio for it. Genotypic ratio we know, we'll keep it aside, but then 9:3:1, which is the dihybrid ratio, we will be writing the phenotypic one only, and 3:1 for the monohybrid ratio. এটাতে কোনো mistake না হয়, এটার কিন্তু question আসতে পারে। That's about genetics. Acha, one thing in genetics is just a second. Application of Mendel's laws. There are 3 points mentioned. So those 3 points we will keep in mind. Page number 32, application of Mendel's laws. Those 3 points, we will not miss it out. Okay, Angel, you want to ask something? কি হয়েছে?
ম্যাম বলছিলাম যে কালার ব্লাইন্ডনেস তো এক্স লিঙ্ক ডিজিজ, এবার ওটা রিসেসিভ এক্স লিঙ্ক ডিজিজ না ডমিনেন্ট এক্স লিঙ্ক ডিজিজ?
Color blindness, hemophilia, both of them are X-linked recessive, is caused by, these are caused by X-linked recessive gene. Both of them are because of X-linked recessive gene. That is why X dot leads to a carrier, X dot leads to a diseased person, diseased female, right? We know this,
ঠিক আছে,
right?
হ্যাঁ।
Okay. And if it is XY, in that case, a male with X and Y chromosome will be a normal male or an affected male. For color blindness or hemophilia, XY
নর্মাল
will be normal. And for defective or for diseased male, how would we represent the chromosomes?
X dot
Y.
X dot Y. Okay. So genetics is also done. Absorption chapter এর definitions গুলো সব মুখস্থ করেছিস তোরা? I mean, we need to really learn the definitions, all of them. Diffusion, osmosis, active transport, imbibition, plasmolysis, deplasmolysis, turgid, flaccid, all these things we have to learn.
ম্যাম এই জায়গা থেকে আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চেন আছে।
বলো।
ম্যাম এই যে সারফেস অ্যাট্রাকশনের কথা যেটা বলেছি ইনহিবিশনে, তাহলে যদি ফোর্সেস কন্ট্রিবিউটিং টু অ্যাসেন্ট অফ স্যাপ যদি জিজ্ঞেস করে, তুমি এই কোয়েশ্চেনটা মনে গ্রুপে দিয়েছিলে একবার মাল্টিপল চয়েসে, তার মধ্যে কি সারফেস অ্যাট্রাকশন ইনক্লুডেড হবে না? কারণ এখানে লেখা আছে একটা জায়গায়
সারফেস অ্যাট্রাকশন ইনক্লুডেড হবে না বলছিস?
হবে তো সারফেস অ্যাট্রাকশন।
Sorry. We will be writing all the points. মানে দেখো, we have the last page of the chapter. We have forces contributing to ascent of sap.
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম।
We have root pressure, capillarity, transpiration pull, adhesion. Okay, you are saying that we don't have the word imbibitional pressure mentioned here.
হ্যাঁ মানে সারফেস অ্যাট্রাকশনের জন্য, কারণ কোহিশন যখন বলা আছে ব্যাপারটা তো ওটার জন্যই।
Same thing. Correct. একদম ঠিক। Okay. We will
মানে ওটা লেখা যেতে পারে।
You can write down. একদম লিখতে পারিস। ঠিক আছে? আচ্ছা, if we talk about transport of water, it's unidirectional or bidirectional?
unidirectional
So for xylem. And if we talk about the distribution of food,
bidirectional
Bidirectional.
ইউনিডাইরেকশনাল, সাইলেম তো আপওয়ার্ডস টা না।
xylem শুধু upwards নাই। ঠিক আছে, আর একটা বলো আমাকে যে we are aware that xylem is made up of what type of cell, living or dead?
Mostly dead.
Xylem is actually made up of dead tissues, whereas only one component is
Xylem
living there,
parenchyma.
xylem parenchyma. What about phloem? Phloem is living or dead?
3 are living, 1 is dead.
Okay, so
It is
phloem is
living
basically
except
made up of
the
living cell, living tissue. All of them are living except phloem fibers, বা সেটাকে bast fibers বলি আমরা, that is dead. Somebody wrote down a question there. Just a second. Acha, osmosis includes diffusion but not vice versa. True or false? Yes, class, please respond to this.
Ma'am, I think diffusion includes osmosis.
Acha, osmosis a definition. I want the definition of osmosis from anybody. Anybody who can speak about the definition of osmosis? Say.
Osmosis is the movement of water
Osmosis
molecules
is the movement of the water molecules from a
higher
region of their higher
concentration.
concentration to a region of their lower concentration across a semi-permeable membrane, or osmosis is the movement of the water or the solvent molecules from a hypotonic solution or pure solvent to a hypertonic solution across a semi-permeable membrane.
Acha, this is Srinjoy, I can see, right? Okay, Srinjoy, I'll talk to you about a definition. Pralipta was saying, right? Pralipta, can you continue?
Osmosis is the movement of water molecules from the region of higher concentration solution to the lower solute concentration to the region of lower concentration solution or with a higher solute concentration through a semi-permeable membrane.
Okay. I can understand you have learned the definition from the book. Very good. But then we have to keep our answers simple and correct. Could you understand my language? Simple and correct. Higher concentration to lower concentration across a semi-permeable membrane, and what is being transported? Water molecules. ঠিক আছে? So let's not learn Srinja. You talked about two definitions. Let's be with only one definition. The first definition was perfectly okay. Bracketer মধ্যে যেগুলো রয়েছে সেগুলো দিয়ে let's not confuse our definition. If you're okay with that, if you're understanding it well, then it's all right. But then let's learn the simplest and the correct definition for all, and of course for this also. Is that clear to all of us?
Yes, ma'am.
ফ্লোয়েমটাকে bidirectional? Phloem এর conduction?
হ্যাঁ, phloem তো from the leaf to all the parts of the plant distribute হয়, right?
হ্যাঁ
তাহলে মাল্টি ডাইরেকশন বলে হবে।
Now this can come for your MCQ wala question. Okay, I hope you have checked the some of the MCQs I shared yesterday or day before yesterday. I shared some important questions. So MCQ moddhe kintu you will get these. So you have to check if it is written bidirectional, tahle phloem for bidirectional or multidirectional. Both are okay. You have to look into your MCQ ka option. But xylem is always unidirectional. And if you are writing it, you are writing the answer for phloem, you will write that it is it's distributing to different parts of the plant body. Another thing is that when we talk about the function of phloem, we talk about translocation of food. We talk about translocation of food, is it not? And when we talk about function of xylem, we talk about the distribution, we talk about transportation of water and minerals. These two terms I'm highlighting. For xylem, transportation of water and minerals. For phloem, translocation of manufactured food.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, this ma'am, osmosis includes diffusion but not vice versa. That true হবে না false হবে?
Osmosis includes diffusion, of course, correct, because osmosis e ki hocche movement of molecules from a higher region to lower region hocche, right? So diffusion o tai hocche, but then in osmosis we need a semi permeable membrane jeta diffusion e hocche na, সেজন্য vice versa হবে না, but one way it
Ma'am, তাহলে
includes
diffusion মানে osmosis কে include করছে?
করে না, না না, osmosis diffusion কে include করছে। ওকে, অল রাইট। আমি কাউকে তোদেরকে দেখতে পাবো না, তোরা এরকম মানে অন দি আদার সাইড কাভার্ড উইথ আ ব্ল্যাক শীটই থাকবি, ভিডিও অন করবি না তোরা? একটু ভিডিও অন কর, ইট গিভস মি মোর এনার্জি, ইউ নো, when I can see your faces on the other side. See, Orpon is there.
Not in a good condition. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Acha, so this chapter is basically understanding based chapter, and Srijit, I'm looking into what you have written there. Another thing is there. Yeah, acha. If you are given a question, ki draw a root hair cell when it is placed in excess fertilizer. How would your diagram be?
ম্যাম ওই সেল মেমব্রেনটাকে সেল ওয়ালটার থেকে কন্ট্রাক্ট করি, মানে ভেতরে নিয়ে আসবো, আর বাইরে সেল ওয়ালের বা সেল মেমব্রেনের ভেতরে থাকবে হচ্ছে গিয়ে ওই মানে সলিউশনটা যেটার ভেতর দিয়েছি, আর মানে সরি যেটার ভেতর দিয়েছি সেটা না, যেটা হ্যাঁ মানে ওই যেটা সেলের ভেতর ছিল সেইটা সেল স্যাপটা আর ওই সলিউশনের মিক্সচারটা, আর সেলের ভেতর থাকবে হচ্ছে যেগুলো সেলে থাকে মানে নিউক্লিয়াস নিউক্লিওলাস ওগুলো।
So the major part is our cell membrane will what is the exact word?
Plasmolized plant cell.
Yes, it will shrink. The
Flaccid.
cell membrane will shrink. And the gap between cell membrane and cell wall, what is that filled with? How would we label that?
Cytoplasm. No.
Come up with the exact word. The gap between the cell wall and cell membrane
Hypertonic solution.
will be filled with hypertonic solution. Will be filled with hypertonic solution. Correct. Ekdom thik. Ei jayagata jeta mone thake. And plasmolysis a definition, and regaining of plasmolysis is deplasmolysis. These terms may not be they might not be asking this in definition, but then true false, it may be there for true false, and MCQs it also may be there. It can be in assertion reasoning also. ঠিক আছে,
অসমোসিস আর ডিফিউশনে যেটা বললে ওটা একবার বলবে?
আমি বললাম যে osmosis includes diffusion. কেন? Because osmosis মানে transport of water molecules from a higher region to lower region. But then diffusion when it's a physical process when the molecules are in direct contact. But in osmosis, there's the involvement of a semi-permeable membrane, right? So osmosis includes diffusion, but not vice versa.
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, থ্যাংক ইউ।
Okay, so this.
ম্যাম আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চেন আছে।
বলো।
ওইটা ফিগার 4.8 এ একটা আইসোটনিক যে সেলটা দেবা, ওখানে লেখা আছে ওয়াটার এন্টারিং দ্য সেল ইকুয়ালস দ্য ওয়াটার লিভিং ইট। তো ওখানে কি মানে নো নেট মুভমেন্ট আমরা লিখবো না নো নেট অসমোসিস? কেন ওয়াটারটা
we will write no net movement is occurring, hence no osmosis takes place. চলে আয় পেজটাতে, just a second, এই results গুলো যেখানে লেখা আছে, which page of your book? Tell me, my book it's not matching the page.
44 in my book.
Acha. So the figure 4.8, you all, yes, this is also an important part. Please come to this. Figure 4.8 যদি আসো, দেখতে পাবে যে উপরে রয়েছে animal cell. The RBC is shown when it is kept in hypertonic, hypotonic, and isotonic. And then plant cell when it is kept in the same different solution. So here you can be questioned what will happen when an RBC, human RBC, is kept in hypotonic solution. When it is kept in isotonic solution, when it is kept in hypertonic solution, we will have to exactly write the observation, what happens. You can see it in the diagram, it is mentioned here. But then with respect to osmosis, আমাদেরকে mention করতে হবে যে osmosis হলো কি হলো না, like the results may be as follows. যদি দেখে থাকো, the results may be as follows, সেখানে কিন্তু mention করা রয়েছে cell shape and size remains unchanged when the solution is isotonic. And then you will add, as I think Manishika you are asking this, right?
ma'am.
হ্যাঁ, এখানে কিন্তু পাশে লিখবি যে no net osmosis takes place. This is a PYQ, previous year question, we discussed it long back. So no net osmosis takes place. Again, when we are talking about the second one, hypertonic, cell shrinks in size and loses shape, the solution outside is hypertonic, we have to mention that. And cell slightly enlarges or even bursts, the solution outside is hypotonic. Endosmosis takes place. We can also add endosmosis or exosmosis, যেখানে হচ্ছে technical term is more important. Is that clear, Manishika and all?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. হ্যাঁ বলো। Any other doubts anybody was saying?
ম্যাম ওই অ্যাবজর্পশনের চ্যাপ্টারে এক্সারসাইজে যে স্ট্রাকচার আর অ্যাপ্লিকেশন স্কিল টাইপ কোশ্চেনের কোশ্চেন নাম্বার 5টা একটু বের করবে একবার।
Cylinders, potato.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
Okay,
ওখানে
okay.
তো ফার্স্ট কোয়েশ্চেনটা হবে হচ্ছে বি, আফটার 48 আওয়ার্স হুইচ পটেটো সিলিন্ডার উইল বি হেভিয়েস্ট।
Distilled water.
হ্যাঁ মানে
Okay,
বিটা।
it will take up more water. Yes,
হ্যাঁ
it will swell. Endoosmosis will take place. Okay.
হ্যাঁ, আর ডি এর যেটা মানে কোয়েশ্চেন নাম্বার ডি, রাইট স্পেসিফিক নেমস অফ দ্য প্রসেসেস হুইচ অকার ইন বিকারস বি অ্যান্ড সি। বি এর মধ্যে তো অসমোসিস হবে, আর সি এর মধ্যে প্লাজমোলাইসিস হবে তো, কারণ পটেটো সিলিন্ডার তো শ্রিঙ্ক করে যাবে।
And we are talking about the hypertonic solution. Yes,
হ্যাঁ
we'll talk about plasmolysis over here. But then when we write plasmolysis, mention করতে ভুলবি না যে
এক্সোঅসমোসিস হচ্ছে।
exoosmosis.
হ্যাঁ
বুঝতে
ম্যাম।
পারলি? exoosmosis টা mention করতে ভুলবো না আমরা। Okay. Okay, then passing on to transpiration, a very easy, one of the easiest chapter. এখানে diagram based question তো আসতেই পারে. Along with that, factors affecting transpiration, as I have been telling you again and again, the factors bolo, adaptations bolo, we will be writing our answers in bullets, subheadings and explanation. And the most important thing, তোমরা এতগুলো exam দিয়ে বুঝতে পেরেছো by now that you might be asked ঘুমা ফিরাকে questions. Okay, so Ghuma Firake questions means a case study is given and then you are to utilize the reading time to the full so that you are able to understand what exactly is going through the question and what can be our answer, proposed answer. And then while writing, apply that. So that is very important. Support your answer with diagram wherever you feel like, yes, you can that way. So this chapter is an easy one. পোটোমিটারের ডেফিনেশনটা একটু কেয়ারফুল থাকতে হবে, কাট শুট ওই ব্যাপারটাই কিন্তু আমাদের হাইলাইট করতে হবে। পোটোমিটারের প্রিকশনস, লিমিটেশনস, if
Ma'am,
asked we have to answer properly. Just a minute. And then cobalt chloride paper is an indicator of moisture, blue when dry, pink when exposed to moisture. These facts should be clear. Nandita, yes.
ma'am, mechanism of stomatal transpiration টা একবার বুঝিয়ে দেবেন?
Okay, mechanism of stomatal transpiration, which we have read in photosynthesis chapter. Oh no, mechanism of stomatal transpiration. Acha. Now, if you can look into the figure, this is 5.7, or you can refer to figure 5.8 also. You can check that water is entering through the xylem. Like water has been picked up by the root, it enters through the xylem, reaches the cells. Now, when we talk about the internal structure of a leaf, we see that there are elongated cells on top. তাই তো? elongated cells কে কি বলি আমরা?
Palisade
Palisade
mesophyll
cells.
cells.
Palisade cells, right. And niche royeche spongy cells, which are almost oval or spherical in shape. So the palisade cells, there are plenty of chloroplast. Along with the spongy cell, there are plenty of chloroplast. What exactly happens is water from the xylem vessels reaches reaches the leaf cells, and then it simply passes into the intercellular spaces, whichever a very small amount of water reaches the intercellular spaces, and then from there it comes and accumulates in the substomatal space. Substomatal space গুলো হলো very near to the stomata. That is why the name is substomatal space. And hence the stoma is open, and the outside temperature, the outside air gets in, so that region is warmer as compared to the rest of the cell. Got it? So this region is a little warm. So as soon as the thin film of water reaches the substomatal space, the water converts into vapor. So the conversion of water vapor is taking place here. So in the substomatal space, there is maximum concentration of water vapor, and that is why from there water vapor diffuses to the outside, where there is lower concentration of water vapor. So diffusion of water vapor from inside the leaf to the outside takes place through stoma, and that is what we define as transpiration. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Experiments based on transpiration. We have read, acha, medium. We have to use it as example. Where are we using medium as an example?
Pure or
Sunken
sunken
stomata.
stomata.
Sunken
Reduced
stomata.
exposed surfaces.
Reduced, yes. So all the sunken stomata, and then we have also the narrow leaves. They're also example of medium is given quite a many part, like thick cuticle. Example?
Banyan.
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 Banyan. Banyan. Right. Okay. External, internal factors, transpiration pull. The significance of transpiration also, as the book says, will go according to that. Acha, transpiration brings rain. Give reason. What will be our answer?
Ma'am,
Adds
Means
because
moisture
transpiration
to
transpiration
increases
the
the
creates
moisture
water
atmosphere.
content
vapor
in the
which
atmosphere.
causes condensation.
ma'am, stomatal
একজন বলো।
ট্রান্সপিরেশনের মেকানিজম বললে কি কে প্লাস আয়ন কনসেন্ট্রেশন থিওরিটা বলা যেতে পারে?
I'll come to that. That is with respect to photosynthesis. ঠিক আছে? That we will come to that. But I just talked about the how the process of transpiration takes place, how this water vapor goes out. Okay, we were talking about another point. The transpiration results in rainfall. Transpiration, forests contribute in bringing rain. Transpiration is the secret. যদি এই কোয়েশ্চেনটা আসে কিরম ভাবে অর্গানাইজ করে আমরা লিখবো? Who will say? Some of you were saying the answer.
ম্যাম একবার কোশ্চেন রিপিট করবেন, বুঝলাম না।
Forests contribute in bringing rain. Transpiration is the secret. They might give you the transpiration is the secret, or they can simply write the question that forests contribute in bringing rain. How would you uh, portray your answer? One
Ma'am,
mark question, minimum 2 points
ম্যাম
has to be there. You
পরিস্থিতির
know that.
কুলিং এফেক্ট।
ma'am, examples গুলো দেবো, যেমন maize plant releases 2 liters of water, এরকম example দিয়ে then we'll write that transpiration adds moisture to the atmosphere, helps in bringing rain.
So, as a result of transpiration, water is released in the form of vapor, right? Water is released in the form of vapor, but then these water vapor gets accumulated and then they get condensed as they form cloud, and as a result it results in rainfall. A processটাকে explain করতে হবে. You can surely add examples, but then this process has to be mentioned. As a result of transpiration, water vapor is released, and this vapor condenses to form cloud, and that brings rainfall. ठीक है? Guttation, yeah, very important question. Can be definition of guttation, and maybe in MCQ you are given যে plants এর নাম দিয়ে দিল কিসের মধ্যে guttation হয়. So examples of the plant that undergo guttation.
Banana,
Banana,
nasturtium,
nasturtium, and
strawberry.
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 Strawberry, right. Difference between bleeding and guttation. 1 point
আচ্ছা,
of
ব্লিডিং
difference.
bleeding is a loss of water through cut stem, and guttation is a loss of water in the form of water droplets along the margin of leaves through a special opening called hydatodes.
Hydrothodes, okay. Bleeding money because of some injury, okay. Loss of cell sap because of some injury. We should always mention plant sap বা cell sap, and from the ruptured parts or cut parts of the plant, that is bleeding. All right, so this chapter is also okay. Any doubts in this chapter?
No, man.
No. Photosynthesis, chloroplast diagram, very important. Stomatal
Ma'am.
opening and closing a diagram. Shapnadeep, just a minute. And then the experiments are, I mean, very, very, very important here. Experiments, we have to focus on each and every experiment. Specifically, I'm coming to that. Before that, the diagram of chloroplast, double membrane, bhulle hobe na. Must label the double membrane. The thylakoid, when you're labeling one thylakoid, so it should be thylakoid. More than one thylakoid, granum. Granum is singular. More than one granum, grana. Stroma is the base. Okay, and the connecting frets. So all these points should be perfectly mentioned when you're labeling the diagram. Okay. Another important thing is that site of light reaction. When we talk about the site of light
Thylakoid.
reaction,
Thylakoids.
thylakoids, grana also can be correct, and site of dark reaction,
Stroma.
And stroma.
stroma. Now there is a term called stoma, and there's another term called stroma. I hope we all know the difference between the two. Who can answer? Stoma, stoma, or stroma?
Ma'am, stoma is a independent, uh, light dependent phase, and stroma is the light independent phase.
Anybody? So he has made a slight error, and I want you to pick that up. Stoma, S-T-O-M-A, stoma, or S-T-R-O-M-A, stroma. Yes, Aditya.
And stoma is the aperture between the stomata, the gap, and stroma is the ground substance in chloroplast.
Right, right. Arpan, please listen to this carefully. Stroma, S-T-R-O-M-A, is the ground substance of chloroplast, and S-T-O-M-A, stoma, is the pore. Sorry, the stomatal pore that is present between the two guard cells in the stomatal apparatus. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Okay. Just a second. One important thing.
Ma'am,
Yes. Yes, somebody was asking something.
ma'am,
Chakradeep, bolo.
ম্যাম অ্যাবজর্পশন অফ ফ্রুটস থেকে ওখানে যখন আইসোটনিক সলিউশনে যখন একটা সেলকে রাখা হচ্ছে ওখানে হচ্ছে নো মানে দ্য অ্যামাউন্ট অফ ওয়াটার এন্টারিং দ্য সেল ইজ ইকুয়াল টু দ্য অ্যামাউন্ট অফ ওয়াটার মিনস এক্সিটিং দ্য সেল। তো ওখানে কি আমি লিখবো নো অসমোসিস ইয়া নো নেট মুভমেন্ট, কোনটা লিখবো?
No net movement of water takes place, hence no osmosis.
ওকে
No osmosis লিখবো আমরা।
Ma'am,
Just give me one minute. 1 minute. Yes, somebody was asking something.
ma'am,
Yes.
আগে আপনি বললেন আমি শুনতে পাইনি in a hypertonic solution, when a cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, what do we call the gap between the cell membrane and the cell wall? How do we label that? What I'm playing
In a plasmolized cell you're talking about,
Yes,
right?
yes.
A plasmolized cell, when we label the portion between the cell wall and the cell membrane, the gap is hypertonic solution.
Hypertonic.
If the question says that sucrose solution, তাহলে লিখবি sucrose solution. If it says salt solution, তাহলে লিখবি salt solution. But that part is why that part has shrunken, because hypertonic solution has entered. That's why.
Okay. আর এইরকম কিছু কি হাইপোটনিক মানে ডিপ্লাস্টোলাইজ সেলে লিখতে হবে, মানে বাল্জিং সেল যেটা হাইপোটনিক সলিউশনে রাখা আছে?
না হাইপোটনিক তখন বলবো না, তখন সিম্পলি ওয়াটার তখন থাকবে না এরকম কোয়েশ্চেন। বাট যদি থাকে তাহলে ডায়াগ্রামে দেবে না, দে মাইট আস্ক ইউ আই মিন হাউ টু রিকভার ফ্রম দিস। ডায়াগ্রামে আসার চান্সেস ভেরি লেস। We will not write hypotonic. That is simple placed in water. We can do one thing. Write water bracket hypotonic likhe diyo. Bracket hypotonic if it comes that way. Recovery from plasmolysis.
Okay.
Right. That only you're asking. Yeah, I think Kaushik is asking something.
Yes, ma'am. ম্যাম বলছিলাম যে বইতে এই অসমোসিস মানে এক্সপ্লেনেশন অফ অসমোসিস যে এক্সপেরিমেন্টাল উইথ ফ্রেজাল ফানেল ইজ দ্য সলিউশন যেটা ওইখানে দেওয়া আছে যে ওই মানে ফ্রেজাল ফানেল ইজ কভারড উইথ সেলোফেন পেপার, এগ মেমব্রেন আর অ্যানিমাল ব্লাডার। তো ম্যাম যদি ধরো অ্যানিমাল ব্লাডার বা এগ মেমব্রেন থাকে তাহলে কিন্তু সেলোফেনের মতো সেমি পারমিয়েবল হিসেবে কাজ করবে।
What are the semi-permeable membrane here?
হ্যাঁ মানে সেলোফেনটা তো সেমি পারমিয়েবলের মতো ওয়ার্ক করছে আর কি, ওয়াটারটাকে ঢুকতে দিচ্ছে, সুগার সলিউশনস বেরোতে পারছে না। তো অ্যানিমাল ব্লাডার আর এগ মেমব্রেনটাও কি সেম ভাবে কাজ করবে?
Animal bladder is also an example of semi-permeable membrane. We know that, and egg membrane is also a semi-permeable membrane. We know that, right?
Thank you.
Okay. Can anybody name an impermeable membrane?
Rubber sheet.
Rubber sheet. Freely permeable membrane?
Muslin cloth.
Muslin cloth.
So we were talking about this photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a light dependent phase and light independent phase. That is again very important. Why do we call it light independent phase? The dark reaction, we call it light independent phase. Why?
It doesn't require any light. It doesn't depend on light.
It doesn't depend on light. It is immediately after light reaction it occurs, and it is independent of light, so we say it's light independent reaction. Okay. এখানেও কিন্তু factors are there, factors resulting in factors affecting photosynthesis. We should be thorough with that. Adaptations in leaf to perform photosynthesis. We know all the points, subheading and explanation again and again and again. ঠিক আছে? যদি গ্রাফ বেস কোয়েশ্চেন দেয়, এখানে গ্রাফ আছে একটা, ফিগার 6.3. সো when they are talking about the factors, carbon dioxide concentration and increase নিয়ে কথা বলছে, we should be looking into these graph. We should not miss out any diagram in the book. Okay, that is the first thing that we will be doing, not to miss out any of the diagrams or the flow charts in the book. Yes, Nandita.
ম্যাম, এই দুটো গ্রাফের মধ্যে না আমি কার্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড এর লাইট ইন্টেন্সিটি ডিফারেন্সটা বুঝতে পারছি না।
এখানে কি বলছে যে প্রথমে কার্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড ইনক্রিজ করলো, রেট অফ ফটোসিনথেসিস ইনক্রিজ করবে। কার্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড ইনক্রিজ, কনসেন্ট্রেশন অফ কার্বন ডাইঅক্সাইড ইনক্রিজ করলে রেট অফ ফটোসিনথেসিস ইনক্রিজ করবে। আবার আফটার সাম পয়েন্ট it will get stabilized. Once it gets stabilized, we'll again provide more carbon dioxide when we are doing it in the laboratory or in nature also. So the rate of photosynthesis will increase, but then it's never like that ki the rate of photosynthesis will keep on increasing once they get the source of carbon dioxide repeatedly. No, after some point it will get saturated. That is why they are showing it with a horizontal line. After some point of time, that's going to stabilize itself, and no more rise in photosynthesis will take place.
And then light intensity-টা মানে এখানে তো সেকেন্ড গ্রাফে দেখাচ্ছে ওটা আবার বাড়ছে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ বাড়ছে, কেন বলছি, বাট at up to a certain limit. Find that out. Up to a certain limit, not at its extreme. What they actually want to explain here is that all the factors of photosynthesis, whatever factors are there, temperature, water content, light intensity, carbon dioxide concentration, all of them should be optimum for perfect photosynthesis to occur. Because we know that when there is high temperature, higher than 40 degree, so 35 degree excess যখন হতে থাকবে, after 40 degree enzymes are destroyed, no photosynthesis takes place. So it's not like that ki everything will keep on being high and the rate of photosynthesis will be high. No, optimum range is required for all of them. That is what they want to explain here through this diagram, through the graph, right?
Okay, ma'am.
আচ্ছা, এক্সপেরিমেন্ট বেসড কোয়েশ্চেন তো আসেই এমনিতেও, দিস টাইম অলসো উইল বি হ্যাভিং ইট, বাট দেন উই শুড বি ভেরি ক্লিয়ার অ্যাবাউট দ্য ফ্যাক্ট যে হোয়াট ইজ আ স্টার্চ টেস্ট। পজিটিভ স্টার্চ টেস্ট মিনস ইন্ডিকেশন অফ হুইচ কালার? blue black coloration, and negative indication that starch is not produced, brown. আচ্ছা, ব্রাউনের সঙ্গে কিন্তু ব্রাউনিশ ইয়েলো এরকম লাইট ব্রাউন এরকম কালারের মেনশন যদি থাকে, keep in mind that they are referring to the absence of starch. And for the presence of starch, of course, blue black can be there. They can also use blue coloration, black coloration, navy blue. তো একটু মাথায় রাখতে হবে যে এক্সট্রিম গুলো হলো প্লাস অ্যান্ড মাইনাস, পজিটিভ অ্যান্ড নেগেটিভ, ঠিক আছে? অ্যান্ড দ্য স্টেপস অফ স্টার্চ টেস্ট আমরা জানি, কেন কখন বয়েল করলে কি হয়, টু কিল দ্য সেল। ফার্স্ট we boil the leaf for a minute to dip the leaf in boiling water to kill the cell, and then we boil the leaf in methylated spirit to
remove chlorophyll.
Right, remove chlorophyll, and then blue black coloration hoy, as it mentioned in the book, the starch solution is added, this and that. An example of a variegated leaf, leaf,
Coleus, geranium,
geranium, coleus, the pronunciation comes as coleus, coleus. We should be writing it perfectly.
একটা সিকোয়েন্সিয়াল অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্ট আমার ডাউট আছে, একটু বলবো?
বলো, বা লেখো না এখানটায়, এই চ্যাট বক্সটায় লেখ, তাহলে সুবিধা হবে। রাইট ইট ডাউন, উই উইল সি দ্যাট। সো জেরানিয়াম, প্রোটন, সিলাস। স্বপ্নদীপ বলো।
যখন এই ফটোসিনথেসিস যখন এক্সপেরিমেন্টের ডায়াগ্রাম করতে হবে, তখন কি কন্ট্রোল টেস্টও মানে রাখতে হবে?
See, they will give you generally what happens, has been happening all these years, that experimental setup is given. You are asked question ki what is the aim of the experiment, and then you are given you are asked to draw the control setup or write about the control setup. Now, that is a very simple kind of question, and we know that the most important factor which is missing in the experiment, you have to most important factor responsible for the experiment to occur should be missing in the control setup. Okay. Now this time you might be given a story মানে একটা case study দিল, and then from there maybe you are asked to um, find out the control, you're asked questions on that, and then from there you're asked to draw the control setup, or maybe if you're asked to draw the experimental setup, from there you are drawing. So you get ready for these kind of question, that these experiment based questions will be coming as a case study one. We have been practicing these as diagram based questions all these days, but then you should be prepared for a paragraph from where you're deducing the answer, and you will be having questions. Question paper pattern, paper pattern means 3-mark question, 1 1 1. But then instead of a diagram based question, instead of an experiment based question, you are writing there, you are answering based on the matter that is given to you instead of a diagram. So there you might be asked to draw a control setup based on what matter is provided in the paragraph.
ম্যাম
I'm able to make myself clear. Yeah.
ম্যাম বলছি অপশনাল সেকশনে কতগুলোর মধ্যে মানে 4টে অ্যাটেন্ড করতে টোটাল অপশন কতগুলো থাকে?
আমি সব লাস্টে বলবো, ওটা সব লাস্টে বলবো. Okay, so another important diagram, that experiment to show that oxygen is given out during photosynthesis. The labeling water is not correct here. Which water will be writing labeling? My question is, experiment to show that oxygen is given out during photosynthesis. There is a labeling called water. So specifically which water will be writing here?
Pond water.
Pond water. Why pond water? Why pond water?
Questionটা repeat করবেন?
Figure 6.8 asked to draw. Why would we write the water as pond water? শুধু water কেন না?
ম্যাম, কারণ যে প্লান্টটা আমরা ইউজ করব হাইড্রেলা, সেটা শুধু পন্ড ওয়াটারেই থ্রাইভ করে।
Aquatic plant dissolved oxygen.
হ্যাঁ কি?
It's an aquatic plant, right? So aquatic plant mane it's just a second. Bubbles of gas collected. Yes, we are talking about a hydrophyte here. So specifically hydrophyte money, we will have to specify this to be pond water, not tap water. Okay.
Ma'am,
Significance of significance of photosynthesis. Significance of photosynthesis are 2 important points.
Food for all, oxygen for all.
Food for all, oxygen for all. You remember that question, a tiger owes its existence to chlorophyll. So how do we explain that? We have practiced that, but again, a tiger owes its existence to chlorophyll. Tiger beche ache, why? Because of chlorophyll. How are we going to answer this? This is a Avigyan. Yes, Avigyan, very good. Follow.
Food web.
Food web. ঠিক করে বলো, পয়েন্টস বলো, দুটো পয়েন্টস বলো। A tiger owes its existence to chlorophyll. যদি না বলতে চাও, you can write down in the chat box also.
Due to photosynthesis starch produce হয় বা গ্লুকোজ প্রডিউস হয়, সেটা একটা ফুড চেইন দিয়ে পাস অন করে যায়। তো সেটার জন্য টাইগার গেটস হিজ এনার্জি ইনডিরেক্টলি ফ্রম দ্য প্লান্টস। ওকে, আবার অক্সিজেনটা নিয়ে যদি আমরা ভাবি, then oxygen is the byproduct which is released after the process of photosynthesis. সেই জন্য একটা টাইগার বেঁচে আছে। So
tiger is, you're correct. I'll just sum up your points. A tiger feeds on deer, and the deer feeds on the grass, and the grass prepares its food by absorbing the light energy utilizing chlorophyll. So a tiger owes its existence to chlorophyll. হলো, বুঝতে পারলাম?
ম্যাম আরেকবার একটু রিপিট করবেন?
A tiger eats the animal, tiger is a consumer, so it's feeding on the deer or the rabbit or any herbivore, all right? And then that herbivore is dependent on plants mean the grass or the green leaves,
Okay.
which is utilizing the chlorophyll for preparing its food. So tiger owes its existence to chlorophyll. Okay, Srinjoy and Avigyan, both of you হাত তুলেছো, বলো।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, বলছি যে যদি ওই ফটোসিনথেসিসের রিয়াকশনটা লিখতে দেয় সেখানে সানলাইট আর ক্লোরোফিল লিখবো এরোর ওপরে আর নিচে, নাকি লাইট এনার্জি আর ক্লোরোফিল লিখবো?
Both are correct. Both are correct. Sunlight would be better. We'll write sunlight because we have only one equation in the whole syllabus. So এইটা একটাই আমাদের মনে রাখতে হবে, oxygen given out should be arrow facing up because it is released as gas.
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম।
আচ্ছা, এখানে কিন্তু মঞ্জিমা একটা এমসি arrange in following sequence দিয়েছে, লেখো আনসার, রাইট ডাউন হিয়ার অনলি। হ্যাঁ বলো অভিজ্ঞান, কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করছিলে।
একটা ধর কোয়েশ্চেন জিজ্ঞেস করলো, an experiment to show that oxygen is evolved during photosynthesis, ধরো একটা এরকম দিল যে a snail is placed inside the beaker, তাহলে আমি কি অবজারভেশনটা লিখবো?
Snail is placed inside the beaker, and what else are there? Nothing else.
এটাই জিজ্ঞেস করেছে, স্নেলটা প্লেস করলে আমরা কি দেখতে পাবো কিছুক্ষণ পর?
মানে you are given a setup where you have water and a snail, তাই বলছো?
হ্যাঁ, আর এখানে হাইড্রিলাটাও আছে।
হ্যাঁ, that is the thing. The source of chlorophyll, মানে this aquatic plant should be there. And then what your question is?
এবার জিজ্ঞেস করেছে যে কি হবে, মানে একটু কিছুক্ষণ পর আমি কি অবজার্ভ করতে পারবো স্নেলটা?
অবজার্ভ দে জল আছে, aquatic plant আছে, and আছে হলো একটা snail. So what would be our observation?
ম্যাম ওই অক্সিজেন যেটা ইভলভ করছে আফটার ফটোসিনথেসিস, দ্যাট উইল বি ইউজড আপ বাই দ্য স্নেল।
Oxygen will be used up by the snail, correct? Right.
And we can also observe bubbles of carbon dioxide too, because snailটাও তো respire করছে, so it will give out carbon dioxide which will further used by the hydrilla plant in the process of photosynthesis.
We can use that. So oxygen utilization by the animal there, any animal, snail আছে, any animal, right? Avigyan, she kept
Yes,
it
ma'am.
correct. Understood?
Okay.
Acha. Okay, now let us talk about the arrange in sequence that you are talking about. Destarching of leaf, and then boiling water, removal of chlorophyll. আচ্ছা, placed in cold water কেন? warm water হবে না?
ওটা warm water হবে না।
হ্যাঁ, warm water হবে।
হ্যাঁ, ওটা
And
কোশ্চেন
iodine
এখানে ভুল আছে মনে হয়, কোল্ড ওয়াটার হবে না, ওয়ার্ম ওয়াটার হবে।
cold কিন্তু হবে না, warm water হবে, and poured iodine is poured, মানে adding iodine added. একবার চেক করে নিস মঞ্জিমা, this is the sequence is correct.
হ্যাঁ
All right, হ্যাঁ সৃজিত ঠিক লিখেছে যে ওটাকে করার জন্য, সফট করার জন্য লাগবে। ওকে, সো দিস চ্যাপ্টার ইজ অলসো ডান। আমরা এখনো প্লান্টে রয়েছি, কেমিক্যাল কোঅর্ডিনেশনে ডিটেলে যাচ্ছি না, we have to just learn the functions there. And again, in chemical coordination, this geotropism, phototropism, thigmotropism, diagram based, ekdom look into the diagram, whatever diagram given in the book, all the activities. Another thing is that all the activities should not be missed out. All the activities, function and chart ta ache table 7.1 puro ta we have to keep in mind from there, and all the diagrams 7.2, activity 1, activity 2, figure 7.1, activity 3, all the figures, everything from this chapter and related questions. I'm not getting deep into that. Coming to circulatory system, I'm sure you have prepared the human physiology part very well. So the circulatory system
বলছি যে ব্লাড পিউরিফিকেশন প্রসেস কি কিডনিতে হয় না লাংসে হয়?
Blood purification, in what respect you are talking about? Purification of blood mane deoxygenated to oxygenated you're talking about, naki removal of the nitrogenous metabolic waste? So that is important to know, right? If you are talking about removal of the nitrogenous metabolic waste, then we'll talk about kidney. But if you're talking about oxygenation, so that will surely be in the heart, no? lungs এ purification হয়, we know that pulmonary circulation, pulmonary and systemic circulation, double circulation, name of the major blood vessels, their function, their location, you have the full chart, location function ka chart, everything is mentioned there. Hemoglobin and oxygen forms, yes, hemoglobin and oxygen forms,
Oxyhemoglobin.
oxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin and carbon dioxide forms,
Carbaminohemoglobin.
carbaminohemoglobin. Hemoglobin and carbon monoxide forms.
Carboxyhemoglobin.
Out of these three, which is the stable compound?
Carboxyhemoglobin.
Very good. So carbon monoxide poisoning থেকে question আসতে পারে. So we have to talk about the stable compound formed between carbon monoxide and hemoglobin, right? The chart that says about the different types of cells, blood cells, RBC, WBC, platelets, তাদের যে different parameters, ওটা ভালো করে মনে রাখতে হবে. Phagocytosis and diapedesis থেকে question আসতে পারে. And mature mammalian RBC is devoid of
nucleus, mitochondria, endoplasmic
yes.
reticulum.
Why nucleus? Why mitochondria? Why endoplasmic reticulum? We know that I'm not getting into it because you people need to prepare, revise your lessons. এইগুলো difficult কিছু নয়, পেরে যাবে. Figure 8.3 is important, where we'll have to understand the phenomenon of phagocytosis and diapedesis. That is important. মনে রাখতে হবে. And Nandita, just a minute. Main reactions in blood clotting টা ভালো করে পড়বে. এটা কিন্তু একটা কেস বেসড স্টাডি কাইন্ড অফ কোয়েশ্চেন আসতে পারে, যে reactions in blood clotting, how it's happening, what is being converted into what, calcium ion is required, which ion is required, prothrombin is inactive, thrombin is active, fibrinogen is soluble, fibrin is insoluble. So these clear idea of these things should be there. Nandita, just a second. RH system means that positive and negative part, that we have to remember. Blood group a universal acceptor, universal donor, এই blood group এর জায়গা থেকে কিন্তু again একটা question আসতে পারে, because which blood group is going to pair with which one, that idea, that concept should be clear with us. Table 8.2, that one, Carl Landsteiner, the compatibility thing I was talking about. So universal donor, universal recipient, and the scientist behind this, along with which blood group will be able to donate the blood to which blood group, so who can receive from whom. ওই আইডিয়াটা পুরো ক্লিয়ার থাকবে. বল নন্দিতা, বল তাড়াতাড়ি.
ম্যাম ওই মোনোসাইটস, লিম্ফোসাইটস, ওগুলো কি পুরো ডিটেইলস এ পড়তে হবে?
No, not needed at all. খালি অগ্রানুলোসাইটস কি and granulocytes কি মনে রাখতে হবে. General functions are there, we can keep that in mind, not to go into much detail. But again I would say
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম বলুন।
Now I was saying regarding the chambers of the heart, তার আগে তুই বলে নে কি বলছিস.
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম বলছি, আপনি একটা কোয়েশ্চেন দিয়েছিলেন সলিউবল প্রোটিন ইন ব্লাড, মানে ব্লাড ক্লটিং এর ওই পোরশনটা, ওটা ফাইব্রিন না প্রোথ্রম্বিন না থ্রম্বিন?
Again please repeat the question.
The soluble protein in blood, মানে ব্লাড ক্লটিং এর ওই
fibrin
পোরশনটা।
to insoluble, that should be fibrinogen. I'll just check once. Yes class, what is the what can be the answer?
Ma'am, vitamin K.
Fibrinogen.
Okay ma'am.
Fibrinogen, that's the protein, correct. একদম ঠিক. Okay, and blood transfusion, antigen. I was talking about the heart structure again. The figure 8.8, very 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 important. From this chapter also you can have a lot of case based questions. So these two diagrams are again very important. You look into the diagram, try to find out this is a contracted phase or a relaxed phase. It's auricular systole, ventricular diastole, all these things একদম যেন ক্লিয়ার থাকে, কোনো যেন ডাউট না থাকে. কেন অরিকুলার সিস্টোল, কেন ভেন্ট্রিকুলার সিস্টোল, কেন হচ্ছে, পেসমেকার কি, what is AVN, diagram of artery and vein, diagram of capillary also, if it is given you should be able to answer. So these things should be crystal clear. Okay, capillary ki acha. And then in SAN, in the paragraph of pacemaker, we have many terms: bundle of his Purkinje fibers, all these atrioventricular node, their collective task, সেই জায়গাটা, how the pacemaker works, সেখান থেকে সেই জায়গার কনসেপ্টটা কিন্তু ক্লিয়ার থাকতে হবে। হেপাটিক পোর্টাল সার্কুলেশন শুড অলসো বি ক্লিয়ার ইন আওয়ার মাইন্ড, যে aorta থেকে blood vessel entering into stomach, entering into large intestine, entering into small intestine, and from there it's coming out altogether, and the capillaries fusing to form the vein, and that is why we are calling it that hepatic portal vein by hepatic vein. Why we are saying it so? What about the hepatic portal system? এই আইডিয়াস গুলো থাকতে হবে। লিম্ফটা একবার গো থ্রু করবি, লিম্ফটা আমাদের ডিটেইলে নেই আমরা জানি, বাট প্লিজ গো থ্রু ইট ওয়ান্স। লিম্ফের ফাংশন, জেনারেল ফাংশন মনে রাখবো, definition of pulse, spleen, largest lymphatic organ, blood is the largest blood reservoir, এগুলো সব মনে রাখতে হবে। Any doubts from circulatory? We pass on to excretory. Excretory, okay, excretory, all the diagrams again we will look into it in detail. The kidney, the LS of kidney, and then along with that the nephron diagram, Bowman's capsule diagram, where the afferent arteriole is wider than the efferent arteriole. That part is important. Steps in urine formation, parts of nephron, all these things. And the table 9.1 is very, very important. That should be focused. ADH এর role, সেখান থেকে question আসতে পারে। ADH এর role, how it regulates the urine formation. What is diuresis? What are diuretics? Artificial kidney is not much in syllabus, but then a concept of artificial kidney, if artificial kidney কথাটা বা dialysis মেশিনটা relate করে দেওয়া হয় with the urine formation, তার জন্য we will just have a read at the small paragraph at the end. And a summary of excretion in humans, there is table 9.3, ওখানটা আমরা কিন্তু ফোকাস করব। হ্যাঁ সৃঞ্জয় বলো।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, বলছি যে 2 phases of circulation of blood in human body, এটা কি লিখবো?
কি লিখবো আমরা ক্লাস?
Pulmonary and systemic.
Pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation.
ম্যাম ওই এ লিখবো না, ওই মানে সিস্টোল আর ডায়াস্টোল?
What was your question?
Ma'am, 2 phases of circulation of blood in human body.
Pulmonary circulation, systemic circulation. Systole and diastole, they are the contraction phase and relaxation phase in that way. But then the whole double circulation part is divided into that pulmonary and systemic circulation.
বলছিলাম যে পালমোনারি আর সিস্টেমিক সার্কুলেশন তো মোটামুটি সাইমালটেনিয়াসলি হচ্ছে, কিন্তু এই সিস্টোল আর ডায়াস্টোলটা তো সাইমালটেনিয়াসলি অতটা হচ্ছে না।
What do you mean by simultaneously হচ্ছে না? After immediate systole we are going into diastole, and then join diastole, and again systole, and again diastole. I'll talk to you about this. এটা হয়ে যাক, I'll talk to you about this. ঠিক আছে? Okay, let me finish it up because I've already taken 10 more minutes from what I said. Okay, then the diagram of neuron, all-time favorite of paper setters. এই চ্যাপ্টার থেকে কিন্তু we have to go through it একদম thoroughly so that we do not miss out anything. Meninges, the covering of the meninges, functions of the cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, what is corpus callosum, specific function of these 3 parts of the brain, what is pons varolii, corpus callosum, pons varolii, and then we have cerebellum, and then all these functions we have to keep in mind perfectly. Cranial nerves, spinal nerves, their total number. We know that autonomic nervous system is influenced by which hormone? Adrenaline. All right, the table 10.1 here, organs and their effect on sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. That's very important. All the points I specified, some of them, we'll go through all of them now. Okay, and then the reflex action থেকে কিন্তু question আসবে touching the hot object, withdrawing our hand, So how these are all related, diagram based question আসার জন্য ভীষণ important, case study wala question এর জন্য ভীষণ important. So this figure 10.9 should be given importance. 10.9, right? 10.9, yes. কোনটা কোথা থেকে ইনফরমেশন যাচ্ছে, কোথায় এসে পৌঁছাচ্ছে, all those details. And along with that, এখানে যে activities গুলো রয়েছে, reflex action examples might be given and you will be asked to identify কি এটা কি কিসের, মানে this is a voluntary action, involuntary action, reflex action. So we should be thorough with, there are so many examples in the book, we should be thorough with all the examples. Reflex arc, reflex action, reflex arc component, that is again very important. So all these things, definition of reflex arc, when we say it about a pathway, we say that it's a pathway. And when we are talking about reflex action, it's the quick, immediate and involuntary action. So এই ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজটা কিন্তু ডিফার করবে, সেটা কিন্তু মাথায় রাখতে হবে।
নো ওয়ে আচ্ছা
হ্যাঁ, কিছু বলছিস?
না ম্যাম।
আই এন্ড ইয়ার এর ডায়াগ্রাম ভেরি 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 ইম্পর্টেন্ট, দি সেন্স অর্গানস ওয়ালা পার্ট। আই এন্ড ইয়ার প্রত্যেক কোথাতে লোকেশন ফাংশনের চার্ট আছে, প্রত্যেকটা ওখান থেকে পড়তে হবে, নট টু মিস আউট এনিথিং। ইয়ারের inner ear diagram can come, a membranous labyrinth we all know, that is inner ear, তো সেটা যেন মিস আউট না করি। ইয়েলো স্পটের আরো অন্য নাম হলো মাকিউলা লিউটিয়া, এরিয়া অফ ব্রাইটেস্ট ভিশন, শুধু মাকিউলা, শুধু ফোভিয়া সেন্ট্রালিস, সো মেনি নেমস, সব যেন মাথায় থাকে, ঠিক আছে?
ফোভিয়া সেন্ট্রালিসও বলে,
ফোভিয়া সেন্ট্রালিসও বলে, ফোভিয়া সেন্ট্রালিস শুধু ফোভিয়া, মাকিউলা লিউটিয়া শুধু মাকিউলা, ইয়েলো স্পট।
ওকে ম্যাম।
And then dark adaptation, light adaptation, these things we know quite well. Myopia, hypermetropia or hyperopia, which lens to use, how will be the corrected diagram, this can again come for a case based question. They'll be talking about some person, some student যার আই যে বোর্ড দূরে বসে লেখা দেখতে পারে না, তাহলে what kind of eye defect can he suffer from, that kind of question. And then which lens is to be used for its rectification, draw the diagram for the corrective lens, where will be the image formed, related questions can be there, একদম থাকতে পারে, ঠিক আছে? ইয়ারেরও তাই, ইয়ারেরও ব্যালেন্সিং and hearing, body balancing and hearing, তার উপরে থাকতে পারে which part of the ear is responsible for which function to perform, all those things. এখানটায় বোধহয় ডাউট নেই, I'm sure this part we have done quite well again and again. Next is the endocrine system. Glands and their secretion and their function and their hypo and hyperactivity. This is the chapter about it. So each and every part should be dealt thoroughly. Pancreas ke mixed gland canoboli, that can be a give reason question, why we say this. And islets of Langerhans. Islets of Langerhans is the endocrine cells of pancreas, can be a 1 mark question, I mean 1 word objective question. অর্পণ কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করবে, জাস্ট আ মিনিট। ডায়াগ্রাম যেগুলো আছে, যেরকম থাইরয়েড গ্ল্যান্ড, প্যারাথাইরয়েড গ্ল্যান্ড, and then figure 12.4 also you should have a look at it, so that we are aware that how the pancreatic hormone is working. All right, সবকটার hyposecretion, hypersecretion মাথায় রাখতে হবে। Again, another thing is that goiter, people living in the hilly areas, they suffer from goiter. Why?
Because of the deficiency of iodine in the soil.
Deficiency of iodine in the soil, and thyroxine synthesis এর জন্য iodine is required. Yes, বলো কি জিজ্ঞেস করছিলে?
আচ্ছা ম্যাম, বলছেন যে হাইপারসিকেশনের যে সিমটমস গুলো আছে সেটা কি পড়তে লাগবে?
Uma, অবশ্যই, because you might be given symptoms and asked to identify that this is what is happening. This is what is happening means it represents which disorder বা which disease. So that can be question. আমরা finally table 12.4 টাও কিন্তু পড়ে নেব without a miss. This is a gist of the whole chapter. Still we go through it. Endocrine glands এর আরেকটা question যেটা আছে এক্সারসাইজে দেখবি, blood vessel দেখিয়েছে, and then they have shown the gland by the side and a little away. So that question, which is correct? Which is the what is the error, which is correct. So সেই diagram মতো question also we will practice. Okay, and then the reproductive system, we prepared it so well. Sperm, why the testis descend into scrotum shortly before birth. That is again a very important question. We know the temperature difference. You have to explain the temperature difference. Diagram of sperm that I was saying. Diagram of ovum. Fertilization steps gulo ulto palta kore diye dilo, and you have to arrange in proper sequence. That kind of question. Accessory glands ki male er তার প্রত্যেকটার ফাংশন কি, লাইক সেমিনাল ভেসিকুলার কি ফাংশন, কে বলবে? সেমিনাল ভেসিকুলার ফাংশন
When portion alkali produces a secretion that serves as a medium of transportation of sperms.
This is for seminal vesicle. It provides a medium for the secretion provides a medium for the transportation of sperm. When we talk about prostate gland, its secretion is, what is the nature of the secretion for prostate?
Alkaline.
Alkaline. Why is it alkaline? To neutralize the acid in female's vagina. Okay, and because female genital tract is acidic in nature. And the other one, the bulbourethral gland, ki kore?
Serves as a lubricant for the
Serves
semen.
as a lubricant. Okay. All right. And then we have the menstrual phase. Menstrual phase questions over here. Menstrual phase features kintu. Again, I cannot see any one of you. It would be better if you come up with your video on. Menstrual phase সবকটা কিন্তু activity, ovulatory phase, follicular phase, luteal phase, প্রত্যেকটার activity we should be thorough with, because again if you are given questions on activity দিয়ে দিল and we are asked to identify the stage, that would be we need this proper labeling and these points to enter there. Which day, that is also important. Ovulatory phase, which day, 13th or 14th day? Menstrual phase, 3 to 5 days, the first 5 days, 3 to 5 days. Follicular phase, 5th to 12th day. And again the luteal phase, 15th to 28th day. So this whole cycle divided into days, that is important. And after that, definition of implantation. What is embryo, what is fetus, which day onwards we call it a fetus? That is again important. Function of placenta, function of amnion. There are so many functions mentioned. We will be learning all of them. That is very important. And this diagram, the inside the womb, the developing embryo, that is also very important. What do we mean by monozygotic twins? Who will tell me? Monozygotic and dizygotic twins.
Ma'am, the twins that came from one zygote.
Single zygote, so monozygotic. Dizygotic, from two zygote. Two zygote, how it will take place? From both the ovary, 2 eggs are being released and fertilized by sperm, because sperms are plentifully available. All right. So that's about our syllabus. বলো।
আমি বলছি আগে কি মরুলা হয় নাকি আগে এমব্রায়ো ফর্ম হয়?
Zygote, it divides to form a mass of cell. Okay, we call it morula. Mass of cell mane 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So when it is around the 32 wala stage, we call it morula, and then 32 to 64 wala stage, we call it blastula, and then the embryo, and then the fetus, and then the fetus. Fetus mane 2.5 months, 7 weeks onwards, when the human-like it has a human-like appearance, we call it fetus. ঠিক আছে,
আইসিএসসি স্পেসিমেনে কিন্তু এমব্রায়ো থেকে আবার ওটা স্টার্ট করতে বলেছে, তাহলে তো ওটা ভুল আছে।
কোন জায়গাটা আমাকে একটু দেখাস তো, what you are talking about? Send me in the group, we will talk about it. Okay,
ঠিক আছে।
Another thing is that একটু quickly বলে নি, how will we be answering the answer paper? We have 40 marks in section A, and the another 40 marks we have to answer. 40 marks in section B. But then, as I told you all, that if we have enough time, by now you have your time management, you have written so many exams, you know how to modulate your timing. We will be attempting minimum 1 question. That is a must. Minimum 1 extra question we will be attempting. It would be very good if we can attend all the extra questions, the 2 extra questions. You will be benefited. you will be benefited if you write down the extra questions. You know how we have been talking about it again and again, that the maximum marks that you obtain will be taken up, all right, in your best of 4. So 80 upon 80 is our target, and we have to achieve that. We all know that, and you will be able to do that. Another one important thing is that when you write down the answer, section A, first you begin with MCQ, the 15 MCQ gets over, and then we have the series of objective questions. Give the numbering properly, and the say the subheading A, B, C, D, those things should be distinctly given, and then you write down your answer. Once your section A gets over, leave that page. If suppose that is half of a page, leave that page. 1/4 of a page you end, and you leave the full page because teacher need to do a lot of calculations there. Okay, and then you pass on to a fresh page. Start with question number 3. A B C D questions থাকবে, সেখানে 3টা পুরো শেষ করে leave that page. Even if you are at a half a page, leave that full page. You have plenty of pages there. And then you start with question number 4, answer number 4 from a fresh page, and then you complete it full. Leave enough space for the teacher to write down and calculate the marks. Likewise, every answer should be started from a fresh page. Keep that in mind. And lines drawn, underline the important keywords. All these things should be kept in mind. Okay, this much I had to say. Now some people had some doubts. We can clear that. And before you all move on, I would request you to just keep your cameras just on for 1 minute. I'll just take a picture. Just, can we do that for a minute? We can keep our
Yes,
video.
ma'am.
All of us, please. Shabai tatari. Whatever way you are, we don't need to look beautiful and very fresh because you are studying. So that mode, I just want to take a click the same, so that remains a memory for us, all of us, quickly, fast. Shoroja, Siddharth is not well. Ahona is there. Okay. Shinjoy, Manjima, Srijit.
Ma'am, my camera isn't working actually.
Okay. Just a second. Lovely faces. So many days. অনেক দিন পর তোদের দেখছি. Good to see you all. Okay, chalo. What are our doubts? We can clear it up right now.
ম্যাম আমি আমার ডাউটটা গ্রুপে পাঠিয়েছি ওই
আচ্ছা আমি দেখে নিচ্ছি। আর বেস্ট অফ লাক all of you. Those who have no doubts, you can leave. Those who have doubts, we can carry on with them. খুব ভালো এক্সাম হবে, and I know you will be 100 upon 100 is our target, and we will be achieving that. I'll be waiting for your
আমাকে একটুখানি ওই হার্টের ওইটা বলে দেবে।
হ্যাঁ, সব করব আমি, ওদেরকে আগে ছেড়ে দিয়ে নিই। সো
আমার সিকোয়েন্সটা একটু পাঠিয়ে দেবে লিখে।
কোনটা রে?
ওই আমি তোমাকে বললাম না যে সিকোয়েন্সে সব আনসার ঠিক নেই, তুমি একটু আরেকবার ওই আনসারগুলো
আমি দেখে নিয়ে I'm reverting back. You just remind me which one you are asking exactly. Remind me in the group only. You remind me, ma'am. এটার কথা বলছিলাম। হ্যাঁ, কেউ কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করতে চাস? কারোর পার্সোনাল ডাউটস রয়েছে?
হ্যাঁ, ওই সেকেন্ড অ্যাজারশন এন্ড রিজনিং এর পেজটা থেকে আমার ডাউট ছিল।
দাঁড়া, let me can you share the page with me? The question bank?
ম্যাম, efferent arteriole আর afferent arteriole type of blood কি লিখবো?
Afferent arteriole type of blood দুটোই কিন্তু deoxygenated, কিন্তু we have to mention, see in the book, go to that chapter, we have the components present in the afferent and efferent arteriole. Have you got that?
ম্যাম, বইতে তো ক্লিয়ার পেলাম না, তো গুগলে দিয়েছিলাম, গুগলে বললো অ্যাফারেন্টে অক্সিজেনেটেড আর অ্যাফারেন্টে অক্সিজেনেটেড আর ইফারেন্টে ডিঅক্সিজেনেটেড।
Afferent oxygenated কখনোই হতে পারে না, because afferent is bringing everything to be filtered, তাই না? How it can be oxygenated?
ডিঅক্সিজেনেটেড হওয়ার কথা, কারণ এটা তো লাংসে যাচ্ছে না, তো কিডনিতে যাচ্ছে।
আমরা চলে যাই। Okay. So those who want to leave, you can leave now. Those who have doubts can stay back. Bye all of you. All the best, and perform your best for the exams. Tomorrow I'll be waiting for your রেসপন্স আফটার দি এক্সাম, গ্রুপে সবাই কিন্তু জানাস কেরম হলো। ওকে, সো দোজ হু হ্যাভ
Ma'am,
ডাউটস দে ক্যান স্টে ব্যাক। হ্যাঁ বলো।